In this video, we're going to look at proving identities. Now, we've already looked at proving some identities, but now we're going to prove identities that involve using our new Pythagorean identities. Let's have a look. All right, so here's what we're trying to do. We're going to try to prove that sec squared a minus sine squared a is identical to tan squared a plus cos squared a. Before I get into solving that, I'm just going to write down my three Pythagorean identities, and we can have, it doesn't matter if we use theta or x, whatever. It's basically sine squared of a thing plus cos squared of that same thing is 1. Dividing through by cos squared theta gets me the second one, tan squared x plus 1 equals sec squared x, and then dividing the first one through by sine squared theta gets me the third one, which is 1 plus cot squared x is identical to cosec squared x. So when I'm attempting to prove something like this, I'll set it up in the way that I always have done before, which is here's the left hand side, which is sec squared a minus sine squared a. Now what I'm looking for in the simplest case is just, can I convert any of these terms on the left directly to any of the terms on the right? So for example, is sec squared a similar or related to any of the terms here? Well, yes, because sec squared a is related to tan squared a by this equation here, or rather this identity here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to directly replace sec squared a by tan squared a plus 1, because they are the same. So that is just tan squared a plus 1. Now what about the sine squared a? Is that related to the cos squared a here? Yes, it is, by this identity here. So what I can say is that sine squared a is the same as 1 minus cos squared a. So I've just bracketed it up. So minus sine squared a is minus 1 minus cos squared a. If I expand that bracket, I get tan squared a plus 1 minus 1 minus minus, so plus cos squared a. Well, 1 minus 1 cancels, and we are just left with tan squared a plus cos squared a. Well, that's what we were trying to prove. So that's the right hand side, and we are done. All right, let's have a look at more examples. So here we're trying to prove that sec squared a plus cosec squared a is identical to sec squared a times cosec squared a. So we're not really going to be able to just say, well, something on the left equals something on the right, like we did in the last case. I mean, something on the left is equal to something on the right, but here it's not that they're different functions which we can relate using Pythagorean identities. It's that they're multiplied rather than added. So again, or I say again, but a useful tip here is think about structure. I've got two separate terms added together, and on the right they're all one term multiplied up. Whenever you see that, you're probably going to go down the algebraic fractions route, which is express both of your two terms that are added as fractions and then find common denominator and combine. Let's see how that's done. So the left hand side is sec squared a plus cosec squared a. So I'm going to split that up into 1 over cos squared a plus 1 over sine squared a. And now I'm going to stitch these together using algebraic fractions techniques. So my common denominator here is cos squared a sine squared a. And what have I got in my numerator? Well, multiply top and bottom here by sine squared a, multiply top and bottom here by cos squared a, and now we can see sine squared a plus cos squared a is one of my Pythagorean identities. It's 1. So I've got 1 over cos squared a sine squared a. Well, maybe you can see where we're heading to, maybe you can't. If you can't see where we're heading, look over here and try to give yourself a bit of a target. Sec squared a is 1 over cos squared a. Cosec squared a is 1 over sine squared a. And look, we've got both of those two things here. All we need to do is tease them apart. 1 over cos squared a times 1 over sine squared a, and that just is what we wanted. It's sec squared a times cosec squared a, and that is indeed the right-hand side, and we're done. So that was different to the first one in that we had to actually stitch things together. The structure was different. It wasn't just about pairing terms up on either side. Okay, one more example now. So here we're trying to prove that sec to the 4x minus tan to the 4x is identical to 2 tan squared x plus 1. So I've talked a bit about structure before, and here there's a big structural difference. Very grand way to say what's going on, but the degree or the order of the left-hand side is 4. It's like a power 4 function. If it wasn't a trig function, we might call it a quartic. On the right-hand side, the order or the degree is 2. So it's a quadratic, essentially. So how can we prove that something of order 4 is the same as something of order 2? Well, probably what's going to happen is at some point we're going to get some kind of quadratic term which is just equal to 1 cancelling. If we go back to our identities, you can see that sine squared x plus cos squared x is 1. So there's a quadratic that's equal to 1. And if we, for example, subtracted tan squared x from both sides, I would get sec squared x minus tan squared x equals 1. So very often quadratic trig things, if they're in the right form, can cancel down and just disappear, which is probably what's going on here. So the first thing I'm going to notice is that sec to the 4x minus tan to the 4x is the difference of two squares. So have a look at this. The left-hand side is sec to the 4x minus tan to the 4x. So why is it the difference of two squares? Well, it's sec squared x squared minus tan squared x squared. Right, a thing squared minus a thing squared. And that means that we can write it as sec squared x plus tan squared x times sec squared x minus tan squared x. Okay, that's just the difference of two squares. It's basically like saying if I've got a squared minus b squared, it's the same as a plus b, a minus b. It's just that in this situation, my a was sec squared x and my b was tan squared x. Okay, what can we do here? Well, look at this one here, sec squared x minus tan squared x. I know that one of my Pythagorean identities is that tan squared x plus 1 equals sec squared x, or no, it's identical to sec squared x. If I subtract tan squared x from both sides, I get that sec squared x minus tan squared x is just 1. So this bracket is 1 for all values of x, which means that that is just sec squared x plus tan squared x. Okay, we're nearly there. I'm aiming for 2 tan squared x plus 1, so I'm pretty happy with a tan squared x here. That's contributing one of the tan squared x's. This sec squared x, though, I can use this identity again to turn that into tan squared x plus 1. So this sec squared x becomes tan squared x plus 1, and then I still have the other tan squared x here. And look, I've got 2 tan squared x's plus 1. And that is indeed the right-hand side, and we're done. Okay, I really do remember when I first learnt these, finding these really challenging and just thinking, how can I know in what direction to go? Like, how do you know what to do? It's like all very well seeing it and thinking, okay, that makes sense, but how do you know what to do? The answer is practice. This really is one of those topics where if you have done 10 of these questions, you've kind of done them all. And bit by bit, the more you do, the more you'll be able to kind of see how to get to the end. The first few times you do it can take ages, and it might be it's only when you get to this line, you think, okay, now I can see where we're going. But with a bit more practice, you might get it at this stage where with a few lines to go, you kind of think, oh, I see where I can go with this. And the more you practice, the more that moment of realization happens a little bit earlier, until in the end, you look at a question, you think, okay, I can kind of see what direction to go. And then as you start to do it, you tend to think, okay, I can see where it's going. So practice, practice, practice on this one, and you'll get there. All right, in the next video, we're going to look at solving equations involving using our Pythagorean identities.